In the shadows of hockey's greatest legends lies the captivating story of Joe Szura, a towering center from Fort William, Ontario, now Thunder Bay, whose path from humble frozen ponds to professional triumphs embodies unyielding grit and quiet resilience. Born in 1938 to Polish immigrant parents in a rugged mill town battered by Great Depression, echoes and brutal winters, Joe discovered hockey as his escape and passion, skating on Lake Superior's icy bays with makeshift gear, dreaming big amid working-class hardships. Rising through the Thunder Bay Junior A League with the Fort William Canadiens, he dominated with 134 points in 90 games, drawing scouts' eyes and comparisons to Jean Beliveau for his 6 feet 3 inches frame, precise left-handed shot, and visionary playmaking. Yet, his career unfolded as a thrilling saga of perseverance. Breakout seasons in the EPHL, AHL stardom with Cleveland Barons, including a record-setting Calder Cup win in 1964, to a tantalizing NHL debut with the Oakland Seals, and a WHA championship with Houston Aeros in 1974. Beyond the rink, delve into untold layers, the lingering what-ifs of limited NHL time, mentoring rookies on endless bus rides, and a heartfelt parade of the Avco Trophy through Thunder Bay, sparking community tears of joy. What debates rage over his overlooked potential? How did family and post-retirement service shape his legacy? Uncover this forgotten icon's emotional depths, controversies, and enduring impact. Press play to explore why Joe Szura's journey still resonates. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more untold sports tales. Let's step back to a crisp winter day in Fort William, Ontario, where the wind off Lake Superior carried the promise of something bigger for a young boy named Joe Szura. Born Joseph Boleslaw Szura on December 18, 1938, Joe entered a world shaped by the rugged beauty and tough realities of northern Canada. His parents, Joseph and Sophie Szura, were part of the wave of Eastern European immigrants who had settled in this mill town, drawn by the booming grain trade and lumber industry. Fort William, with its bustling ports and railroads, was a place where hard work was the norm, and the Great Depression's shadows still lingered, making every opportunity feel hard-won. Winters here were unforgiving, with snow piling high and temperatures dropping far below freezing, turning the bays into impromptu rinks where kids like Joe learned to skate before they could properly walk. Hockey wasn't just a game in this community. It was a lifeline, a way to channel energy, build bonds, and dream of escaping the daily grind. Joe's family, rooted in Polish traditions, emphasized resilience and family ties, values that would anchor him through a life full of highs on the ice and quiet reflections off it. As Canada emerged from World War II, the NHL's growing popularity via radio broadcasts brought heroes like Gordie Howe and Maurice Richard into homes, fueling ambitions in places like Fort William. For Joe, those frozen ponds and community rinks weren't mere playgrounds. They were the foundation of a journey that would take him from local hero to professional standout, all while staying true to his roots. In the late 1930s and early 1940s, Fort William embodied the spirit of a frontier town on the edge of the wilderness. The air was thick with the scent of pine from the lumber mills, and the constant hum of trains hauling grain across the country. Immigrants like the Szuras built tight-knit communities, where church gatherings and family meals provided solace amid economic struggles. Joe's father, Joseph, likely worked in the mills or on the railroads, providing for the family in an era when jobs were scarce and winters tested everyone's mettle. Sophie, his mother, managed the home, instilling in her children, Joe, his sisters Sophie and Helen, and brother John, a sense of pride in their heritage. The merger of Fort William and neighboring Port Arthur into Thunder Bay in 1970 would later symbolize the region's growth, but in Joe's youth, it was still two rival towns divided by geography, but united by hockey fever. Local leagues thrived, with neighborhood teams fostering fierce competitions that taught young players like Joe the importance of teamwork and grit. By the 1950s, as the post-war boom brought stability, hockey rinks became hubs of ambition. Joe, with his towering frame already hinting at his future 6'3" stature, stood out early. His left-handed shot and natural vision on the ice drew comparisons to NHL greats, even as he balanced school and family responsibilities. This era, marked by the NHL's six-team dominance and the rise of television, made professional dreams feel attainable, yet distant for a boy from the North. Joe's early life immersed him in a culture where perseverance was key. Lessons that would propel him through the ups and downs of a career that spanned continents and leagues. Joe's hockey story truly began in the Thunder Bay Junior A Hockey League with the Fort William Canadiens, a team linked to the Montreal Canadiens organization that would shape his path. From 1956 to 1959, he transformed from a raw talent into a dominant force. In his debut season of 1956 to 57, at just 18, Joe exploded onto the scene with 27 goals and 36 assists in 30 games, racking up 63 points and 14 penalty minutes that showcased his physical edge. Playoffs added 3 goals and 4 assists over 8 games, helping the team push deep. The Fort William Canadiens were a powerhouse, drawing on local talent and rivaling teams from Port Arthur. Joe's performance turned heads, his size giving him an advantage in board battles, his precise left-handed shot finding the net from tricky angles. Scouts from Montreal noted echoes of their star, Jean Beliveau, in Joe's blend of power and finesse. The next season, 1957 to 58, he stayed steady with 10 goals and 21 assists in 30 games, but the real magic came in leading the team to the WHA championship, a local triumph that bonded Joe to his community. That victory parade through Fort William streets, with fans cheering, must have felt like a taste of glory, igniting pride in a town hungry for heroes. By 1958 to 59, his final junior year, Joe had become a masterful playmaker, netting 13 goals and 27 assists for 40 points in 30 games, with 20 penalty minutes. Over 3 seasons, he tallied 50 goals and 84 assists for 134 points in 90 games, establishing himself as a force. Montreal signed him, envisioning a future role, but their stacked roster, fresh off multiple Stanley Cups, meant Joe would grind in the minors. This period wasn't just about stats. It was where Joe learned the mental toughness needed for pro life, balancing the thrill of wins with the sting of near misses. Transitioning to professional hockey in 1959-60, Joe joined the Montreal Royals in the Eastern Professional Hockey League, a proving ground for prospects. In 40 games, he scored 7 goals and 11 assists for 18 points, with minimal penalties at 6 minutes, a steady start amid the adjustment to faster, more physical play. Midway, he moved to the Hull Ottawa Canadiens, adding 5 goals and 8 assists in 26 games for 13 points. Combined, 12 goals and 19 assists in 66 games showed his adaptability in a league known for competitive Quebec and Ontario teams, and endless bus rides through snowy nights. These were humbling times, with meager paychecks barely covering basics. But Joe's work ethic shone. In 1960-61, staying with Hull Ottawa, he improved to 10 goals and 24 assists for 34 points in 65 games, gaining confidence as a passer who dictated pace from center. The 1961-62 season with the North Bay Trappers was a breakout. 27 goals and 35 assists for 62 points in 68 games. Here, under GM Louis Passador, a fellow Lakehead native and legendary scout, Joe thrived, his dual-threat ability protecting the puck while setting up plays. These early pro years forged his resilience, turning the grind of minor league life into fuel for bigger dreams. Joe's junior coach, Mickey Hennessy, who scouted for Montreal, had paved the way, highlighting the personal connections that often defined careers in this era. Joe's career soared in the American Hockey League with the Cleveland Barons starting in 1962-63. The AHL, a step below the NHL, featured intense crowds and high stakes. In 72 games, he scored 15 goals and 29 assists for 44 points, adding a goal and assist in 7 playoffs. The Barons contended strongly, and Joe's steady play fit seamlessly. But 1963-64 was legendary. 23 goals and 44 assists for 67 points in 72 games, followed by a playoff explosion of 13 goals and 6 assists in 9 games, 19 points total as Cleveland clinched the Calder Cup. This victory, the AHL's top prize, was a pinnacle. Joe's postseason scoring rate over 2 points per game showcased his clutch gene. He set an AHL record for playoff goals, including a game winner against future Hall of Famer Gump Worsley. Teammates remembered his calm leadership, rallying the locker room with quiet determination. The arena's roar as they hoisted the trophy must have been electrifying, a validation after years of toil. Consistency defined 1964 to 65, 32 goals and 30 assists for 62 points in 67 games, some records note, 29 goals, a common discrepancy in historical stats. Peak came in 1965 to 66, 46 goals, his best, and 30 assists for 76 points in 72 games, earning first-team AHL All-Star honors. Joe's shot was deadly, beating goalies from distance, his vision carving defenses. In 1966-67, 27 goals and 42 assists for 69 points in 68 games kept the momentum. These grueling seasons, with 70-plus games and physical wear, built Joe's endurance, cementing him as a minor league star. Across AHL years, he amassed over 900 points in more than 800 games, a testament to his reliability. The NHL's 1967 expansion, doubling to 12 teams, opened doors. Drafted by the Oakland Seals, later California Golden Seals, Joe debuted at 29. On October 11, 1967, he played in the Seals' inaugural game, alongside fellow Lakehead native Larry Cahan. 3 nights later, October 14th, he scored his first NHL goal against the Minnesota North Stars, a milestone etched in franchise history. In 1967-68, 1 goal and 3 assists in 20 games, modest but thrilling under the NHL spotlight. The 1968-69 full season, 9 goals and 12 assists for 21 points in 70 games, plus 2 goals and 3 assists in 7 playoffs. Totals: 90 regular games, 10 goals, 15 assists, 25 points, 30 penalty minutes. 7 playoffs, 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points. Joe held his own against elites, his size a defensive asset, winning face-offs and forechecking effectively. Yet, the Seals struggled as an expansion team, often outmatched, and competition was fierce. At 29, his age favored youth and rebuilding, limiting his role. These years fulfilled a dream, skating with idols, but also highlighted hockey's harsh realities. Talent alone wasn't enough. Following his stint in the National Hockey League with the Oakland Seals, where Joe Szura had demonstrated solid defensive capabilities and occasional offensive flashes across 90 regular season games, he transitioned back to the American Hockey League, a move that reflected the harsh realities of professional hockey in the late 1960s. The AHL, often serving as a developmental and rehabilitative circuit for players on the cusp of the majors, provided Szura with a familiar environment to rebuild momentum. This return was not merely a demotion, but a strategic pivot, allowing him to leverage his experience in a league where he had previously excelled with the Cleveland Barons. In the latter part of the 1967-68 season, Szura joined the Buffalo Bisons, an AHL affiliate of the Pittsburgh Penguins at the time. Over 43 regular season games, he recorded 13 goals and 22 assists for a total of 35 points, accompanied by 16 penalty minutes, indicating a balanced contribution that blended scoring with physical play. His performance in the playoffs further underscored his reliability, as he added 3 goals and 1 assist in 5 games. The Bisons, a team with a storied history dating back to the 1940s, were in a rebuilding phase during this period, and Szura's veteran presence likely stabilized their forward lines, helping them navigate a competitive Eastern Division. Statistically, this partial season represented a pro-rated output similar to his peak Cleveland years, suggesting that the NHL experience had sharpened his game rather than diminished it. However, the emotional toll of bouncing between leagues cannot be overlooked. For a player like Szura, who had tasted the NHL at age 29. This phase highlighted the precarious nature of career trajectories, where systemic factors such as team depth and expansion priorities often overshadowed individual talent. After a brief hiatus, possibly involving training or minor adjustments, Szura resurfaced in the AHL for the 1969-70 season with the Providence Reds, the primary farm team for the St. Louis Blues. This move to Providence, a city with a rich hockey heritage through its Calder Cup winning teams in the 1930s and 1940s, offered Szura a stable platform to reassert his dominance. In 72 regular season games, he tallied 21 goals and 46 assists for 67 points, a line that emphasized his evolution into a premier playmaker rather than a pure goal scorer. His penalty minutes remained moderate, reflecting disciplined play that prioritized team success over individual confrontations. The Reds finished the season with a respectable record, and Szura's contributions were integral to their offensive structure, where he often centered lines that relied on his vision and puck distribution. This season's output, when analyzed against league averages, placed him among the top forwards in assists per game, demonstrating how his NHL exposure had enhanced his decision-making under pressure. The 1970-71 campaign with the same Providence Reds marked an exceptional peak in Szura's AHL tenure. Appearing in 70 games, he achieved a career-high 53 assists, alongside 21 goals for 74 points, with 39 penalty minutes. This performance not only led the Reds in assists, but also ranked him 5th overall in the AHL for total points, a testament to his consistency and adaptability in a league that featured emerging talents and NHL veterans alike. In the playoffs, Szura elevated his game further, contributing 5 goals and 6 assists for 11 points across 10 games as the Reds advanced but ultimately fell short. The team's playoff run highlighted Szura's clutch ability, with his assists often setting up key goals in tight contests. Analytically, this season represented a 10% increase in points per game from the previous year, attributable perhaps to improved line mates or a refined system under coach Larry Kish. Yet, beneath these numbers lay the grind of the minors, endless travel, lower salaries compared to the NHL, and the persistent shadow of unfulfilled potential, as Szura's stats suggested he could have thrived longer in the majors had opportunities aligned differently. Szura's final AHL season in 1971-72 came with the Baltimore Clippers, an affiliate of the Washington Capitals, during a time when the AHL was expanding alongside the NHL. This shift to Baltimore, a team known for its defensive solidity and occasional offensive bursts, saw Szura deliver one of his most balanced campaigns: 38 goals and 38 assists for 76 points in 72 games, with just 20 penalty minutes, indicating a disciplined, high-efficiency style. He finished second in team scoring behind prolific winger Fred Speck, underscoring his role as a secondary offensive engine. The Clippers advanced to the league final that year, a grueling series against the Nova Scotia Voyageurs, where Szura contributed 1 goal and 10 assists in 18 playoff games. Although Baltimore lost the Calder Cup in 6 games, the run featured notable matchups, including against fellow Lakehead region player Ron Busnuk, adding a layer of regional rivalry and personal connection for Szura. Busnuk, a defenseman from Thunder Bay, formerly Fort William and Port Arthur, represented the interconnected web of Northern Ontario talent in pro hockey, and their encounters likely carried subtle emotional weight, evoking shared roots amid competition. Overall, Szura's AHL dominance post-NHL, totaling over 250 points in these 4 seasons, illustrated his enduring skill set, a towering center with precise passing and opportunistic scoring. However, the miners' relentless schedule, with 70-plus games annually and limited recovery time, amplified the physical and mental strain, serving as a stark reminder of the unfulfilled NHL promise. His consistent top-line production begged the question of why he wasn't recalled more often, pointing to broader issues like affiliate politics and the NHL's preference for younger prospects during expansion eras. The launch of the World Hockey Association in 1972 presented a timely renewal for Szura, offering an alternative to the NHL's established monopoly and injecting fresh competition into professional hockey. The WHA, founded by promoters like Gary Davidson and Dennis Murphy, aimed to challenge the NHL through higher salaries, territorial expansions, and a more offensive-oriented rule set, attracting veterans like Szura, who sought extended careers. Joining the Los Angeles Sharks for the 1972-73 season, Szura adapted seamlessly to the league's wide-open style, which emphasized speed and scoring over the NHL's tighter checking. In 73 regular season games, he compiled 13 goals and 32 assists for 45 points. With 25 penalty minutes, an output that, while not explosive, highlighted his playmaking prowess in a system that rewarded creativity. The Sharks, one of the WHA's inaugural franchises, struggled with attendance and financial instability, playing at the Los Angeles Memorial Sports Arena. But Szura's veteran steadiness helped anchor their forward group, alongside players like Alton White and Gary Veneruzzo. His assists ranked among the team's higher totals, suggesting he thrived in setting up faster wingers in transition plays. Playoff-wise, the Sharks qualified but were eliminated early, with Szura appearing in 2 games without points. This season's context was marked by the WHA's chaotic beginnings, including legal battles with the NHL over player contracts, which added uncertainty, but also opportunity for players like Szura, whose experience made him a stabilizing force amid roster flux. In the 1973-74 season, Szura moved to the Houston Aeros, a franchise that quickly emerged as a WHA powerhouse under coach Bill Dineen, and bolstered by stars like Gordie Howe and his sons. Appearing in 42 regular season games, Szura contributed 8 goals and 7 assists for 15 points, with only 4 penalty minutes, reflecting a more limited role perhaps due to the team's depth or lingering effects from prior seasons' wear. Despite the modest individual stats, Szura was integral to the Aeros' balanced attack, providing depth centering and veteran insight that complemented the Howe's dominance. The Aeros dominated the league, finishing first in the Western Division with 48 wins, and Szura's contributions, though subtle, aided their cohesive play. In the playoffs, he suited up for 10 games without registering points, but the team's sweep to the OVCO World Trophy, defeating the Chicago Cougars in the finals, cemented a championship legacy. Alongside teammate John Schella, a defenseman known for his mobility, Szura's experience helped fortify the lineup during key moments. The championship ring, his second major title after the 1964 Calder Cup, represented a career highlight, validating his perseverance in a rival league that disrupted hockey's status quo. A rarely discussed anecdote from this period reveals Szura's deep community ties. He brought the AVCO Cup back to Thunder Bay, parading it through the streets where he had once honed his skills on frozen ponds. This act inspired locals, evoking a collective sense of pride and joy, with reports of tearful gatherings that underscored his humility and love for his roots, qualities that humanized his professional achievements. Overall, WHA totals 115 games, 21 goals, 39 assists for 60 points, and 29 penalty minutes, positioned Szura as a reliable contributor in a league that valued experience, where he mentored younger players and earned recognition as a star in the upstart circuit, even if not at the superstar level. Szura's professional finale unfolded in the 1974-75 season, with the Cape Cod Cotters of the North American Hockey League, a short-lived minor pro circuit that operated from 1973 to 1977 and served as a developmental feeder for higher leagues. The Cotters, based in South Yarmouth, Massachusetts, were in their second year and aimed to build a competitive roster amid the NAHL's regional focus on the Northeast. Szura, at age 36, appeared in just 10 regular season games, scoring 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points with no penalty minutes, a limited output that signaled the physical toll of his extensive career. In the playoffs, he added 1 assist over 4 games as the Cotters advanced but were ultimately eliminated. This brief stint, prorated to a full season, hinted at retained skill, averaging 0.5 points per game, but the reduced schedule likely stemmed from accumulated injuries or a deliberate wind-down. The NAHL's lower profile, with smaller arenas and modest crowds, contrasted sharply with Szura's prior experiences. Yet it allowed him a graceful exit without the pressures of major leagues. After surpassing 1,000 professional games across multiple circuits, a milestone that encompassed junior, EPHL, AHL, NHL, WHA, and NAHL, his body finally signaled the end, with chronic strains from years of physical play catching up. Retirement came without fanfare or bitterness. Instead, it closed 15 professional years on his terms, transitioning seamlessly to community life in Thunder Bay. This phase encapsulated the broader arc of Szura's career, one of quiet consistency, where personal fulfillment derived not from spotlight moments, but from sustained contributions across hockey's evolving landscape. Off the ice, Joe's life was rich with personal milestones that humanized the athlete. On August 27, 1960, he married Lou Battiston, a union that grounded him through the nomadic pro-life. Together, they raised 3 children, John, Joe Jr., and Jodine. Family was his anchor. Weekends home meant simple joys like family meals or watching kids play. Grandchildren, Joey, Josh, and Zachary, brought light, with Joe beaming at their antics. His siblings, sisters Sophie and Helen, married to Terry Hook. Brother John formed a close support network, along with in-laws like Bobby Zubrecki and Linda Battiston. Predeceased by parents Joseph and Sophie, mother-in-law Rena, and brothers-in-law Claire Battiston and Walter Zubrecki, Joe cherished family gatherings, often sharing tales from the road. Teammates recalled his mentorship on bus rides, dispensing wisdom without ego. A lesser-known story. In juniors, Joe's pivotal role in the 1957-58 TBJHL title not only won hardware, but forged lifelong hometown bonds, with fans still reminiscing years later. The early Montreal hype as Beliveau's heir, dashed by farm depth, likely left emotional scars, the what-ifs of a career just short of stardom. Yet, Joe never complained. His stoicism inspired. Post-retirement, he joined Thunder Bay's Parks and Recreation Department, working until 2003. This role let him give back, organizing tournaments and coaching kids on familiar rinks. A colleague remembered his gentle nature, eyes lighting up at a child's first goal, finding fulfillment in nurturing talent. Joe's faith shone at St. Dominic's Roman Catholic Church, where he was a member. One striking fact: despite 905 points and 1,000-plus games, only 90 NHL appearances, a poignant reminder of opportunity's fragility. Another untold gem: after the Avco win, parading the trophy evoked community tears, a heartfelt bridge between pro glory and home. Joe's career avoided personal scandals, but debates swirl around his path. Why the Montreal delay? Some blame farm system politics, with stars like Beliveau blocking prospects. Others point to his age at expansion limiting upside. His WHA jump ruffled NHL loyalists, seen as betrayal in the league wars, diluting talent. For Joe, it was pragmatic survival, extending his play amid gatekeeping. Historical views differ. Undervalued AHL legend deserving more NHL time, or solid player peaking short. Nuanced takes expose flaws, expansion favoring youth, minors as talent traps. Joe's story urges rethinking success, not just NHL fame, but impact across levels with quiet dignity. Joe's legacy extends beyond ice. Championships like the 1964 Calder Cup and 1974 Avco Trophy mark him a winner. But his induction into the Northwestern Ontario Sports Hall of Fame honors broader contributions. In Thunder Bay, he's a local icon, his Mountain View Cemetery grave a site for reflection, with virtual tributes on Find a Grave. Culturally, he represents the unsung hero, stats missing the heart poured in. Politically, his WHA stint spotlighted player agency, previewing free agency struggles. Today, Joe teaches resilience, thriving unseen, giving selflessly. His narrative reveals life's contradictions, unfulfilled dreams against triumphs and service. The beauty? In returning home, Joe completed a loyalty circle, enriching Thunder Bay. Joe's sudden passing at home on October 13, 2006, at 67, shocked all. Funeral at St. Dominic's, with readings by relatives Marilyn McLaughlin and Brooks Battiston, gifts from grandchildren, remembrance by Bob McLaughlin, highlighted his faith and bonds. Out-of-towners like daughter Jodine and husband Sheldon Olek from Manitoba. Friends Murray and Sharon Smith from Ontario showed his reach. Family thanks noted community support. Flowers, donations to Heart and Stroke. The Scotia McLeod, WHA Major Midget Kings attending. In a flash world, Joe's steady light reminds us legends live in touched hearts.